The Beall Morris taper adapter has a 1/4 hole in it and allows you to insert a piece of threaded rod. And we can extend that through the power head to lock it in place. If you cut the threaded rod so it's within the hand wheel, you can just add a flat washer and a wing nut and the assembly is secure. To install the Tween Mandrel, we just turn the Morse taper adapter so the flat's up. Slip the mandrel over with its set screw over the flat spot and tighten it up. To mount the blank, we drill an 1¼ hole about 3¼ inches deep. I mark the depth with a piece of tape on the mandrel just so I know when I've got it fully seated. They can be tough getting on. They'll come off easier after you turn them. Sometimes you'll need to use the tailstock to push the block on the rest of the way. You notice we removed the point from the live center because we don't need that for this. All we're doing is supporting the back end of this to make sure it doesn't slide off. To push it on, put a block of scrap wood and turn it on and just use that to push the piece on the rest of the way. With the block fully seated, remove the push block, move the tailstock up closer, lock it down, and just put a light pressure on it. One of the more important dimensions is the flat spot we leave on this end of the piece where the lid mates to it. I usually start by cutting this end of the blank, establishing that, and then go ahead and finish my shape through the rest of it. With the turning and sanding complete, we can go ahead and finish the piece right on the mandrel. I put a piece of tape at the head here just to protect the mandrel from the finish. Now with the hollow portion of the project done and removed from the mandrel, we'll change over to the Lid Mandrel. So loosen the set screw, remove this, and install the Lid Mandrel. I've glued one of the threaded inserts into a piece of scrap, and we're going to use that to make the stopper for the lid. Screw that on, secure it. Now we can go ahead and round this out. The outside diameter of the gauge ring matches the inner diameter of the hollow portion we made earlier. So we want to turn this down till it matches this. Then I go just a little bit further because we're going to put a cork ring on here that will actually handle the friction. Now we have the plug where it's down a little undersized, and that's where I want it. Now we can cut a groove to match the cork strip that we're going to put in. I've cut a groove 1/2 inch wide and 1/16 of an inch deep, and that matches the strip of cork that I've cut for it. Now we'll fit the cork so the ends meet cleanly, and then we'll glue this in. You can use regular wood glue, although I've been using thick CA and that's been working pretty well. Either way, you've got to let it dry thoroughly because the cork may swell a little bit until the glue's dried completely. We've also glued an insert into the block that we're going to make the lid out of. This block is much too big for this, but it'll show you how stable this is turning it this way. You just screw it on, butt it up against the jig, and to start with, until we get this taken down some, I'll bring the tailstock up and just put a very light pressure on it, just to stabilize the back end a little bit. We can use the sizing ring here again. We know that the outside diameter is the same as the inside diameter on this. So we want to leave a ring about this width on the outside of that ring so the two surfaces match up to each other when we put it together. You can see how long we can make this piece and how narrow we can get it down here, and it's not vibrating at all. We can go a bunch thinner. This is a glued up piece, so I don't want to go too thin. To assemble the stopper to the lid, we insert the threaded stud, start that in the lid, screw on the stopper, and tighten it up. If you put a spot or two of thick CA beneath the stopper, you can lock it in place. Then you won't be able to unscrew that accidentally when you pull it out of the barrel. With the stopper and lid assembled, all that's left is to assemble a piece, and you're done.